In this world there is an energy that flows freely in all living things, a primal force that connects us to the earth, to the universe, to life itself. It's a power that many have forgotten to tap into, but it is there, waiting patiently, as it has always been. Look at the animals. They live with a presence, with a grace, with a surrender that we as humans often overlook. They do not question their existence, nor do they fear the unknown. They simply are, and in their being there is a lesson for us all. I want you to think for a moment. Watch how a lion moves through the grasslands. Its strength is undeniable, yet it is not in a rush. It does not fear the future, nor does it carry the weight of the past. Every step is taken with intention, with awareness, with absolute presence. There is no self-doubt, there is no hesitation, there is just a knowing that it is meant to be where it is, to do what it does. And in that knowing, it moves powerfully, unapologetically. This is how we must live. We are not separate from the earth, we are part of it. The same power that courses through the veins of a wolf hunting in the wild, or a bird soaring across the sky, flows through us as well. But we have forgotten how to be like them. We've let the noise of the world drown out the quiet wisdom within us. We've allowed the mind to take over, constantly pulling us away from the present moment, trapping us in thoughts of what was or what might be. We have disconnected from the life force that pulses through us. But the truth is this: the present moment is all there is. In it, there is no fear, no regret, no shame, no anger. There is only life in its purest, most powerful form. And this is where you must return. You must become like the animal, fully alive, fully in the moment, with no past to drag you down and no future to fear. Think of the cheetah, the fastest land animal. When it runs, it is not thinking about the hunt it had yesterday or worrying about the hunt tomorrow. It is simply running. The ground beneath it, the air around it, the rhythm of its own heartbeat, all in perfect harmony. And in that moment, it is unstoppable. And so are you when you stop fighting the present moment, when you stop seeking fulfillment outside of yourself, when you realize that everything you need is already within you. You've been given a unique set of talents, a unique essence, just like every other creature on this earth. But in order to realize it, you must shed the distractions, you must shed the thoughts that hold you back. Life is happening now, right here, right now, and you must be fully engaged in it as an animal is engaged with the life around it. When a hawk dives to catch its prey, it's not contemplating its choices, it's doing. It trusts itself fully, and in that trust it soars. And so I ask you, what would it feel like if you lived like that? What would it feel like if you trusted your own instinct, your own power, your own ability to be? You are not just a human walking through life. You are a force, a dynamic, living being, capable of greatness. When you connect to the present moment, when you remember who you truly are, the question is not what you need to do to become more, but rather what do you need to stop doing to uncover the greatness that is already within you. Embrace the stillness. Be like the eagle perched on the mountain, observing but never rushing. Let the world move at its pace and you move at yours. In your quiet presence, you'll realize that you've been holding back all along. There is no need for force, for striving. The world will unfold before you when you live in alignment with the rhythm of life itself, just like the animals do. Presence is not merely a state of being, it is the very essence of power itself. It is the quiet force that allows us to move through the world with purpose, grace, and strength. If we look at animals in their natural environment, we see this presence in its most pure and untainted form. Take the lion, for example. As it walks across the savannah, there is no rush, no hurry. It is aware of its surroundings, yet it remains calm, confident, and centered. It doesn't waste energy on unnecessary movements or unnecessary thoughts. It is fully immersed in the present, every step taken with deliberate mindfulness. This presence, this ability to be fully immersed in the moment, is what gives the lion its power. But as humans, we often overlook the importance of presence. We are so consumed by the distractions of the past and the worries of the future that we miss the incredible potential of the present moment. We dwell on regrets, replay old conversations, or obsess over what might happen in the days, weeks, or months to come. This pulls us out of the present and disconnects us from the energy and power available to us right here, right now. The moment we let go of the past and the future is the moment we begin to reclaim our power. Presence means engaging with the world as it is, not as we think it should be. It is the act of surrendering to the current experience, embracing it without judgment or resistance. When an animal moves through its world, it doesn't question or resist the flow of life. It simply participates. It feels the wind, hears the rustling leaves, senses the vibrations in the ground, and reacts instinctively. It is deeply rooted in the moment, not caught in a mental loop of what-ifs or could-have-beens. It is aware of the moment, and in that awareness it is free. We often forget how much we can learn from animals in this regard. There is no constant overthinking, no worrying about whether they're making the right decisions or whether they're on the right path. They simply exist in alignment with the present moment. They know that what they need will come to them when the time is right. A deer doesn't worry about tomorrow's weather. A bird doesn't fret over where it will fly next week. They trust in the rhythm of life, in the flow of nature, and in the wisdom of their instincts. And so should we in the present moment. We are not bound by the weight of the past or the anxiety of the future. There is only the now, and in that now there is infinite possibility. The true power lies in this simple realization. When we can quiet the noise of the mind and truly be in the moment, we unlock a reservoir of energy and creativity that is always available but often hidden beneath layers of distraction and doubt. This power is within us all. It is a natural force waiting to be activated. When we live in the present, we also cultivate a sense of peace. The constant churn of thoughts, the relentless tide of worries and fears falls away. We begin to see the world through the lens of clarity, and in that clarity we make decisions that are aligned with our true purpose. Just as an animal doesn't need to overthink its survival or question its instincts, We don't need to overthink our path. The more we align ourselves with the present moment, the more we connect with our own inherent wisdom and the direction that is right for us. This state of presence doesn't mean we stop planning or thinking about the future. It simply means we stop letting the future control us, stop letting it pull us out of the moment. We still take action, but it's from a place of calm knowing, not from a place of fear or anxiety. It is the difference between living with intention and being swept away by the currents of time. When we are fully present, we act with purpose, not react out of fear or confusion. Animals teach us that presence is not just a passive state, it is an active way of being. It is the key to unlocking our potential and connecting with the vastness of life around us. When we are present, we are connected to the flow of the universe, to the rhythm of life itself. Just as the lion walks with quiet power, so too can we move through the world with strength, grace, and purpose, grounded in the reality of the present moment. This is the true power of presence. When we live in the now, we are not just living, we are thriving. Trusting your instincts is one of the most powerful acts of self-empowerment you can undertake. When we look at animals in their natural habitat, we see a clear and profound example of this instinctual wisdom. The way a wolf hunts with precision, the way an eagle soars with grace, or how a mother bear protects her cubs. These animals do not hesitate or second-guess themselves. They do not sit in a state of confusion, analyzing the past or fearing the future. They act with clarity, guided by an inner knowing, a force that flows from deep within them. And it's this same trust in their instincts that allows them to navigate their world successfully. As humans, we too possess this incredible ability, the ability to tune into our instincts and let them guide us through life. However, unlike animals, we often question our instincts, allowing our thoughts, insecurities, and fears to cloud the clarity of our inner voice. We second-guess ourselves, overthink decisions, and look for external validation. Yet, when we learn to trust ourselves, in the same way that animals trust their instincts, we unlock a power that is inherent within us all. Instinct is not just a gut feeling, it is a deep, intuitive knowing that arises when we are fully attuned to the present moment. It doesn't come from overthinking or excessive analysis. In fact, overthinking often gets in the way of our natural instincts. It is the mind's need for control, to predict outcomes, and to hold on to certainty that prevents us from tapping into the deeper knowing within us. When we trust our instincts, we stop relying on external factors or distractions and start to rely on our own inner wisdom. This is where true strength lies. When we begin to act in alignment with who we truly are, free from the noise of self-doubt and fear. Consider the eagle as it ascends into the sky. It does not need to question whether it is capable of flying or whether the wind will support it. It knows that when the moment is right, it will spread its wings and soar. It trusts in the rhythm of nature, in the wind, in the current, and in its own innate ability to navigate the vast sky. The eagle's trust in its own capabilities is a reflection of the trust it has in the universe itself. It does not overcomplicate things or dwell on the unknown. It simply moves with a sense of confidence and purpose. Similarly, we too are capable of acting with such clarity and confidence if we trust our instincts. When we make decisions based on this internal wisdom, we connect to a deeper sense of knowing that goes beyond logic and reasoning. There are moments in life where the logical path might not always seem clear, but if we listen closely to that inner voice, that instinct, we often find the way forward. This is the beauty of trusting ourselves. It allows us to step beyond the confines of the mind and into a space of intuitive guidance that leads us to the right place at the right time. Trusting your instincts also means releasing the need for certainty. It means being willing to step into the unknown, to take a leap of faith without knowing exactly where it will lead. Just as an animal doesn't need to have every step of its journey planned out, we don't need to have our entire life figured out. Life by its very nature is unpredictable. And while it's important to plan and take action, there will always be an element of uncertainty. Trusting your instincts means being willing to embrace this uncertainty and move forward anyway, knowing that the path will reveal itself as you walk it. We often create barriers between ourselves and our instincts because we are afraid of failure, of making mistakes, or of not living up to expectations. But when we trust in our instincts, we give ourselves permission to fail and to learn from those failures. We remove the pressure of perfection and embrace the freedom of growth. The animals in the wild do not fear failure. They simply adapt, learn, and move forward. They don't dwell on mistakes. They act, they adapt, and they continue to move through life with a sense of purpose. To trust your instincts is to trust yourself fully. It is the recognition that you are enough, just as you are, and that your inner wisdom is powerful enough to guide you through the challenges of life. The more we listen to our instincts, the clearer they become, and the more we are able to navigate the world with confidence and grace. It is the quiet voice within that is always there, waiting to be heard, waiting to lead us to the next step, the next opportunity, the next moment of growth. When we learn to trust our instincts, we begin to live in alignment with our truest selves, and the world around us opens up in ways we could never have imagined. Self-doubt is one of the most pervasive and paralyzing forces in the human experience. It is a quiet voice that whispers in our ears, telling us we are not enough, that we will fail, that we don't deserve success or happiness. It is a voice that feeds on our insecurities, on our fears, and on the belief that we are somehow broken or inadequate. But if we look closely at the world around us, we see that this voice does not exist in nature. The lion does not second-guess its ability to hunt. The bird does not question its right to soar. The wolf does not wonder if it is strong enough to survive. In the animal kingdom, self-doubt is a foreign concept. Animals move with confidence, with clarity, with a sense of purpose that is unshaken by fear or uncertainty. They know who they are and they trust in their inherent abilities. They don't waste time questioning their worth or abilities. They simply exist in the moment, fully immersed in the truth of who they are. As humans, we are often taught to doubt ourselves, to question our worth, to compare ourselves to others, and measure our success by standards that are not our own. We are conditioned to believe that we are not enough, just as we are, that we must constantly strive for something outside of ourselves in order to be valuable or worthy. This belief is deeply ingrained in our culture, in our education system, in the media we consume, and in the expectations placed upon us by society. From a young age, we are taught that success is something to be earned, that worthiness is something to be proven, and that we must constantly work harder, be better, and do more in order to gain acceptance and approval. Over time, this belief takes root, and we begin to doubt ourselves. We begin to question our decisions, our abilities, and our potential. We become paralyzed by the fear of failure and the belief that we are not good enough. But here's the truth. Self-doubt is not a reflection of who we truly are. It is a product of the mind's attempt to control and predict the future. It is the mind's way of holding us back, of keeping us in a place of safety and certainty, even if that safety is not conducive to our growth or happiness. The mind creates stories about who we are, what we can do, and what we deserve, but these stories are often based on past experiences, fears, and judgments. They are not the truth of who we are. The truth is that we are powerful, capable, and worthy of everything we desire. Just like the lion who does not question its strength, we must stop questioning our worth and abilities. We must stop listening to the voice of self-doubt and start embracing the truth of our own inherent potential. When we stop doubting ourselves, we begin to step into our power. We no longer allow fear or insecurity to dictate our decisions. We stop second-guessing ourselves and begin to act with confidence and conviction. This shift in mindset is not about becoming perfect or never making mistakes. It is about trusting that we are enough exactly as we are, and that our actions, decisions, and efforts are valid and worthy. When we trust ourselves fully, we free ourselves from the shackles of self-doubt, and we open ourselves up to the possibility of success, happiness, and fulfillment. Self-doubt often arises from the belief that we are not in control of our own lives, that we are at the mercy of circumstances, other people's opinions, or the expectations placed upon us. But the reality is that we have far more control over our lives than we often realize. We have the power to shape our own destiny, to make decisions that align with our values and desires, and to trust ourselves to navigate the challenges that come our way. Just as animals trust their instincts to guide them through life, we too must trust our inner knowing. We must trust that we are capable of handling whatever life throws our way, and that no matter what happens, we are strong enough to persevere. The key to overcoming self-doubt is to start by acknowledging it for what it is, a mental construct, a story created by the mind to keep us small and safe. Once we recognize that self-doubt is not an accurate reflection of who we are, we can begin to dismantle it. We can start by challenging the thoughts that fuel our doubt, by questioning the beliefs that hold us back, and by replacing them with empowering truths. We can remind ourselves that we are worthy, capable, and deserving of success, just as we are. We don't need to prove anything to anyone. We are enough. As we begin to let go of self-doubt and embrace self-trust, we start to move through the world with greater confidence and clarity. We take risks, make bold decisions, and step into new opportunities with a sense of certainty that we didn't have before, and in doing so, we open ourselves to the fullness of life, unafraid, unapologetic, and unshaken by the doubts that once held us back. When we stop doubting ourselves, we reclaim our power and take our place in the world as the powerful, capable beings we were always meant to be. Living in the present moment is one of the most profound and transformative shifts we can make in our lives. It is the key to experiencing life in its fullest, most vibrant form. When we observe the world around us, we see that animals live entirely in the moment. They are not distracted by thoughts of the past or the future. A deer grazing in a field is not thinking about the weather tomorrow or worrying about what happened yesterday. It is fully engaged in the present, experiencing the world through its senses and instincts. It feels the breeze, notices the rustling of leaves, and listens to the sounds of its environment. This state of being present, aware, and connected is the essence of how all life operates in nature. As humans, we are often disconnected from this natural way of living. We are constantly preoccupied with the past and the future, allowing them to take up mental and emotional space in our lives. The past is full of memories, regrets, and unresolved emotions that keep us tethered to things that no longer serve us. We replay old conversations, revisit old wounds, and ruminate over what we could have done differently. The future is filled with worries, anxieties, and the fear of what might happen next. We constantly plan, prepare, and try to predict outcomes, but in doing so, we miss the richness of the present moment. The truth is that the only time we truly have is the now. The past is gone, and the future is yet to come. The present moment is the only space where life unfolds, and yet it is often the one we pay the least attention to. The act of living in the present moment is not just about mindfulness or awareness. It is about embracing the flow of life and surrendering to it. When we are fully present, we are not fighting against the current of life. We are not resisting or trying to control every aspect of our existence. Instead, we allow ourselves to experience life as it comes, trusting that each moment is unfolding exactly as it should. Animals, in their simplicity, embody this trust. They do not try to control their surroundings. A bird does not worry about its flight path. It simply takes off and follows the wind. A fish does not try to steer the current of the river. It swims in harmony with it. They understand the importance of being in tune with the natural flow of life without attempting to control or force outcomes. When we align ourselves with the present moment, we stop resisting the flow of life. We begin to see that life is not something to be conquered, but something to be experienced. This shift in perspective is liberating because it frees us from the weight of anxiety and stress. We no longer need to plan every detail or worry about what might go wrong. Instead, we trust that whatever happens is part of a larger unfolding process. This trust is what allows animals to move through the world with such grace and ease. They do not fear what they cannot control because they know that the present moment is all they need to survive and thrive. Living in the moment also means being fully engaged in whatever we are doing, whether it's a conversation with a friend, a task at work, or simply sitting in nature. When we are present, We are fully immersed in the experience. We are not distracted by our phones, by thoughts of what we need to do next, or by worries about how others perceive us. We are simply there, fully experiencing life as it unfolds. This level of engagement brings a depth of satisfaction and meaning that cannot be found when we are constantly distracted by the past or the future. When we are present, we notice the beauty around us, the color of the sky, the sound of the birds, the texture of the earth beneath our feet. These simple pleasures are often overlooked when our minds are elsewhere. The more we practice living in the present moment, the more we begin to realize how much control we have over our experience of life. We cannot control the future and we cannot change the past, but we can choose how we respond to the present. When we are present, we are more in tune with our true selves. We are not defined by our past experiences or by our fears of the future. We are simply beings experiencing life in its purest form. This allows us to be more creative, more open, and more adaptable to whatever comes our way. The animals around us provide an example of how to live in the present moment. Their lives are guided by instinct, by the rhythms of nature, and by the needs of the moment. They do not worry about what is to come or dwell on what has been. They trust that the present moment is enough, and they move through it with grace, presence, and ease. We, too, have the capacity to live in this way. When we stop living in the past or the future and fully embrace the now, we begin to live in alignment with the natural flow of life. In that alignment, we find peace, freedom, and a deep sense of fulfillment. The present moment becomes not just a space in time, but the doorway to a richer, more meaningful life. To unleash your inner force is to tap into a power that lies dormant within every one of us. It is a force that is not bound by time, circumstance, or external validation. It is a power that is born of your connection to the world around you and your deep understanding of your own potential. When we look at animals, we see this power in its most raw and untamed form. Whether it's the way a lion asserts itself in the wild, or the way a cheetah runs with unparalleled speed, animals embody a force that comes from a place of natural alignment with their environment. They are not confined by self-doubt or fear of failure. They trust in their ability to respond to whatever comes their way, whether it's hunting for food, protecting their territory, or navigating through life's challenges. The strength of an animal is not just physical. It is a force that comes from being completely in tune with its instincts, its environment, and its purpose. There is an inherent energy in the way an animal moves, an energy that flows freely through its body and mind, unburdened by the layers of conditioning and judgment that humans often place on themselves. In the same way, we too have an inner force, an energy that comes from deep within, from a place of pure being, not influenced by the expectations or limitations of the world around us. When we are connected to this inner force, we experience life with a sense of clarity, confidence, and purpose. We stop overthinking, stop doubting our abilities, and allow the natural flow of life to guide us. This force is always available to us, but in many cases we bury it under the weight of fear, doubt, and uncertainty. The mind often tells us that we are not capable, or that we are not worthy of success or happiness. We listen to these voices, and we begin to doubt our own power. But when we look at animals, we see that they do not question their right to exist, to survive, or to thrive. They move through life with an unwavering belief in their abilities, and they adapt to their surroundings without hesitation. This is because they are fully aligned with their instincts and with the present moment. They trust that whatever happens, they have the strength and the resilience to meet it head on. To unleash your inner force means to reconnect with a part of you that is undeterred by fear, that is driven by purpose and instinct. It requires the willingness to let go of limiting beliefs and to embrace the fullness of your potential. Just as a wolf moves through the forest with a sense of clarity, knowing that it will find what it needs, we must learn to trust that we too will find our way, that we have the strength to overcome whatever obstacles we face. This trust is what unlocks our inner force. It is the realization that we are not victims of circumstance, but active participants in the unfolding of our own lives. When we understand this, we tap into a power that is unshakable, a force that propels us forward with unwavering confidence. Living in alignment with this inner force also means stepping into our true power, unafraid of the challenges that come our way. When an animal faces adversity, it does not back down or retreat. It faces the challenge head on, adapting to whatever comes its way. Whether it is a predator, a harsh environment, or a scarcity of resources, animals respond to these challenges with resilience, adaptability, and an inherent belief that they can overcome anything. We too must approach life in the same way. The challenges we face may seem daunting, but they are not insurmountable. When we are in touch with our inner force, we move through challenges with a sense of purpose, knowing that we have the power to handle whatever comes our way. Unleashing your inner force also involves embracing the freedom that comes with it. When we are in alignment with our true self, we no longer feel constrained by the limitations imposed on us by others or by society. We stop measuring our worth by external standards and start defining it for ourselves. We stop seeking approval or validation from others because we know that our worth is inherent, not dependent on what others think. Just as an eagle soars through the sky, unrestricted and free, we too can live our lives with that same sense of freedom. We are not bound by fear or judgment. We are free to express ourselves fully, to pursue our passions, and to live a life that is true to who we are. This inner force is not something that can be cultivated overnight, but rather something that develops over time as we continue to trust ourselves and embrace our own power. It requires self-awareness, the courage to confront our fears, and the willingness to step into the unknown. The more we align with our instincts, the more we allow ourselves to be guided by our true purpose, the stronger our inner force becomes. Like an animal that has honed its survival skills over time, we too must continue to grow, adapt, and trust that we have the strength to navigate whatever life presents. When we unlock this inner force, we stop feeling small, stop feeling lost, and begin to move through life with an unshakable sense of confidence and purpose. This is the power of living in alignment with your true self. This is the power that lies within each of us, waiting to be unleashed. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite it. In the animal kingdom, we see countless examples of courage in its purest form. A mother elephant protecting her young against a predator, a cheetah chasing down prey with relentless determination, or a lion asserting its dominance over its territory. These actions are driven by an innate force, a primal courage that comes from the heart, not the mind. Animals do not deliberate on fear. They do not waste time questioning their ability to act. They respond with instinct, guided by an unshakable certainty that their actions are necessary for survival and success. And as humans, we often view courage through a different lens. We tend to think of courage as something grand or extraordinary, an act of heroism or bravery that defies all odds. But true courage is not always about making bold, dramatic decisions. It is the quiet, persistent willingness to face discomfort, uncertainty, and fear, and to keep moving forward regardless of the obstacles. It is about showing up in the face of adversity, even when every part of us wants to retreat. Courage is not about being fearless. It is about recognizing fear and choosing to act anyway, trusting that we have the strength within us to navigate whatever comes our way. When we examine animals, we see that they face fear every day, yet they continue to act with purpose. Fear is a natural response to threat or danger, but it is also a powerful motivator. Fear can either paralyze us or push us to move forward, depending on how we choose to respond. The key lies in how we use fear as a catalyst for action. An animal that encounters danger does not freeze in place, paralyzed by fear. Instead, it instinctively reacts. Whether it fights, flees, or finds another strategy, the animal is driven by an inner force that urges it to survive, to push past the fear, and to move forward. In much the same way, we too can learn to move through our fears with determination and resolve. We do not need to wait for the fear to dissipate before we take action. Rather, we can use the fear as a signal that something important is at stake, something worth pursuing. The fear we experience is often a product of our thoughts, of the stories we tell ourselves about what might go wrong. We fear failure, rejection, loss, or the unknown. These fears are real, but they are often exaggerated by our minds. The stories we create about what could happen in the future are not always grounded in reality. In fact, many of our fears are based on assumptions and beliefs that have no basis in fact. When we act with courage, we begin to challenge these stories and confront the beliefs that limit us. Courage is not about denying fear, but about facing it directly and moving through it anyway. Just like an animal moving through a forest, aware of potential dangers, we must learn to navigate the uncertainties of life with confidence, knowing that we can handle whatever comes our way. Courage is also about trusting ourselves. Animals trust their instincts implicitly. They do not doubt their ability to respond to challenges because they are in tune with their natural instincts and the rhythms of life. When we trust ourselves in the same way, we stop second-guessing our decisions, stop seeking constant validation, and stop allowing fear to dictate our actions. Instead, we act with confidence, trusting that we are capable of handling whatever situations arise. This kind of self-trust is the foundation of true courage. It allows us to step into new experiences, to take risks, and to pursue our goals, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. When we cultivate courage, we also learn to embrace failure as part of the process. Failure is not a reflection of our inadequacy, but an opportunity for growth and learning. Animals do not fear failure. They learn from their experiences and adapt. If a lion fails to catch its prey one day, it does not give up on hunting altogether. Instead, it assesses the situation, adjusts its strategy, and tries again. This is how we must approach our own challenges. We may encounter setbacks, face difficulties, or make mistakes along the way, but each failure is simply an opportunity to learn and improve. The courage to fail and continue moving forward is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who remain stuck in fear. True courage also involves embracing vulnerability. It is easy to be courageous when we are certain of the outcome, but real courage arises when we take action despite the uncertainty, when we put ourselves out there, even when we are unsure of the result. Animals show us this vulnerability every day. A bird builds its nest not knowing whether it will be safe or whether it will provide shelter through the season, but it continues to build because that is its instinct, its drive to create and protect. We too must embrace vulnerability by stepping into the unknown, by trusting that we have the strength to face whatever challenges come our way. Courage is not something that comes easily to most of us, but it is something we can cultivate through practice and perseverance. Every small act of courage, whether it's speaking up in a meeting, starting a new project, or confronting a difficult truth, builds our inner strength and helps us develop the resilience we need to face bigger challenges. Like the animals around us, we too have an innate courage that we can tap into, a courage that comes from trusting ourselves, facing our fears head on, and moving forward despite the uncertainty. It is through this courage that we become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of navigating the unpredictable journey of life. There is a certain raw beauty in the way animals approach life. They do not hesitate to live fully, to engage in the present moment with complete and utter presence. Animals do not worry about the future, do not dwell on the past. They simply exist in the now, trusting that the next step they take will guide them exactly where they need to go. This instinctive approach to life is something humans can learn from, especially in a world that often encourages us to constantly rush forward, plan for tomorrow, and dwell on what has already passed. The idea of living without hesitation, without holding back, second-guessing, or overanalyzing is a radical and powerful choice. When we live like animals, we tap into a profound and untapped potential that lies dormant within us all. The hesitation to act, to fully embrace life, is something that holds many of us back. We often feel as though we need to have all the answers, to be perfectly prepared, or to make sure we are doing things the right way. But the truth is, the desire for perfection is one of the greatest obstacles to living fully. Animals are not concerned with perfection. They act based on instinct, driven by an inherent knowing of what must be done. They don't worry about making mistakes. They simply act. whether it's a bird flying south for the winter or a squirrel gathering food for the colder months. Animals are not paralyzed by fear of failure or judgment. They follow their instincts, responding to the needs of the moment without hesitation. This willingness to act, to move forward without looking back or overthinking, is one of the most powerful lessons we can learn from animals. When we hesitate, we lose precious moments of potential, of opportunity. Every time we hesitate, we give in to doubt, to fear, and to the stories we tell ourselves about why we shouldn't act or but the truth is we are always ready. Like animals, we are born with an innate understanding of what we need to do. The key is learning to trust ourselves enough to follow through without overanalyzing every decision or worrying about the outcomes. Animals, in their simplicity, remind us that life is about action and presence. When an animal hunts, it doesn't worry about whether or not it will catch its prey. It is completely focused on the task at hand, living in the moment, relying on its instincts to guide it. The act of hunting becomes an experience of full immersion, no distractions, no second guessing. The animal doesn't think, what if I fail, or what if this doesn't work out? It simply moves forward, because it knows that its survival depends on it. Humans, on the other hand, are often bogged down by overthinking. We constantly question ourselves, our choices, and our abilities. We are paralyzed by a desire for control, for certainty, and for predictability. We forget that the very act of moving forward, even without all the answers, is the most powerful thing we can do. The act of living like animals, without hesitation, without fear of the unknown, reminds us that life is not about having everything figured out in advance. It is about moving forward with confidence, with presence, and with an unwavering belief that we are capable of handling whatever comes our way. When we live without hesitation, we create space for growth, for learning, and for adventure. Just as an animal doesn't second-guess its ability to find food or shelter, we too must trust in our ability to navigate life's challenges. Every step we take, every action we make, is part of the process of growing and evolving. There is no failure in simply acting, because the act itself brings us closer to clarity, to understanding, and to personal growth. Living without hesitation also means letting go of the need to seek approval from others. Animals do not worry about what others think of them. They simply exist as they are, unapologetically and authentically. They do not seek validation or permission. They live in a state of true self-expression. As humans, we often get caught up in the opinions of others, worrying about how we are perceived or whether we are doing things right. But when we live authentically, without hesitation, we free ourselves from the limitations of seeking approval. We become more confident in our own abilities and more aligned with our true selves. To live without hesitation also means embracing risk, uncertainty, and the unknown. Animals do not have a roadmap for their lives. They rely on their instincts, which guide them through the uncertainties they face. A bird doesn't know exactly where the wind will take it, but it trusts in its ability to soar. A bird doesn't know for certain that it will catch fish, but it trusts in its instincts to hunt. When we live with hesitation, We resist the unknown, the unpredictable, but life itself is an unpredictable journey, and the more we try to control the outcome, the less we allow ourselves to experience the richness of what it offers. Living without hesitation is not about throwing caution to the wind. It is about trusting ourselves and our instincts to lead us to where we need to go. It is about understanding that the unknown is where growth happens, where opportunities arise, and where transformation takes place. When we learn to live like animals, free from the constraints of hesitation, free from overthinking, and free from the need for control, we experience a life full of possibility, joy, and expansion. It is in this state of living that we find the fullness of our potential and the depth of our connection to the world around us. The key is to let go of the need for perfection, to move with confidence, and to trust that the next step will always be the right one. To live with authenticity is to embrace the true essence of who you are without compromise or pretense. It is the embodiment of your natural self, free from the expectations of others or the limitations that society often places on you. Animals provide a powerful example of what it means to live authentically. A lion does not attempt to be a zebra, nor does a bird try to mimic the behavior of a fish. Each creature moves through the world in alignment with its instincts and purpose, trusting its true nature to guide its actions. This is what authenticity looks like in its purest form, acting from a place of deep connection to who you are, without fear of judgment or the need for external validation. Humans, however, often struggle with authenticity. From an early age, we are taught to conform, to fit in, and to meet the expectations of those around us. We internalize these messages and start to shape ourselves based on what we believe others want us to be. Over time, this leads us to lose touch with our true selves. We start to wear masks, playing roles that are not aligned with our natural state, and as a result, we begin to feel disconnected, unfulfilled, and confused. The pressure to be something we are not can create a deep sense of inner conflict as we constantly fight between who we are and who we feel we should be. Living authentically requires a willingness to let go of these masks and return to the truth of who we are beneath all the layers of conditioning and expectation. It involves shedding the need for approval and accepting that our worth is not determined by how others perceive us. Just like animals, we must learn to trust our instincts, our inner wisdom, and the deep knowing that comes from being true to ourselves. An animal does not question whether it is living the right way. It simply exists as it is, in full alignment with its purpose. This is the kind of authenticity that humans must aspire to, living in harmony with who we are rather than constantly trying to meet external standards. It involves being real, even when it feels uncomfortable or risky. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is the strength to stand in our truth, to expose ourselves for who we truly are, and to accept ourselves without judgment. This is often one of the greatest fears we face, because being authentic means taking off the armor we've built around ourselves. We stop pretending to be something we're not and begin to experience life from a place of genuine truth. Animals do not fear vulnerability in the way humans do. When a deer stands in a meadow, fully aware of its surroundings, It does not worry about being judged or criticized. It is simply being, and in that simplicity lies its power, its vulnerability, in the form of openness and alertness, allows it to respond to its environment with precision and grace. This is the same power we tap into when we allow ourselves to be fully authentic, when we stop hiding behind a mask of perfection or pretense. We become more attuned to our true nature and the world around us. We become more intuitive, more present, and more capable of responding to life's challenges with clarity and confidence. We often believe that to be authentic we must be perfect, but the truth is that authenticity thrives in imperfection. Animals are not perfect, they are simply who they are, and their authenticity lies in their natural expression. A lion might have scars from past battles, but these scars do not make it any less of a lion. A bird might fly crookedly at times, but that does not diminish its ability to soar. In the same way, our flaws and imperfections are part of what makes us uniquely human. When we accept our imperfections, we stop trying to meet unrealistic standards and start living in alignment with who we are. Authenticity comes from embracing all parts of ourselves, the strengths, the weaknesses, the successes, and the failures, and accepting that each part contributes to the whole of our being. To live authentically is also to follow your passion and purpose without hesitation. It means listening to the desires of your heart, not the judgments of others, and pursuing what brings you joy and fulfillment. Animals are driven by instincts and purpose. They hunt when they are hungry, seek shelter when they are cold, and rest when they are tired. They do not question the validity of their desires or feel guilty for following their natural impulses. They simply do what is necessary for their survival and well-being. Similarly, when we live authentically, we stop denying ourselves the things that nourish our souls. We follow our passions even if they don't align with societal expectations, and we trust that our desires are leading us in the right direction. This is the freedom that comes with authenticity, the ability to pursue what truly matters to us, regardless of external opinions. Living authentically also means being unapologetic about who we are. It's easy to get caught up in the need to fit in or be liked, but true fulfillment comes from expressing ourselves without reservation. An animal does not apologize for its existence, it simply lives in harmony with the world around it. When we begin to embrace our true selves, we no longer feel the need to seek validation or approval from others. We are enough just as we are. We allow ourselves to be seen, heard, and valued for the unique individuals we are, without fear of rejection or criticism. In a world that constantly pressures us to conform, living authentically is a radical act of self-love and self-acceptance. It is about reclaiming our true nature and stepping into our full power. Like animals, we are born with an inner wisdom that knows who we are and what we are meant to do. When we learn to listen to that inner voice and follow our instincts, we unlock a life that is more fulfilling, meaningful, and aligned with our deepest truth. Authenticity is not just about how we present ourselves to the world. It is about how we relate to ourselves and honor the unique essence that we carry within. When we live authentically, we experience life in its fullest form. with all its beauty, complexity, and freedom. In reflecting on the principles drawn from the animal kingdom, we are reminded that there is a profound wisdom and power in living fully, authentically, and courageously. Animals, in their purest form, embody an innate connection to their instincts, to the present moment, and to their true nature. They do not hesitate to embrace life with all its uncertainties, moving through it with a sense of purpose, without fear, and without the weight of self-doubt. As humans, we too have this potential within us. We can learn to act with instinct, trust ourselves, face challenges without hesitation, and live authentically, embracing our vulnerabilities and imperfections as part of the beauty of our existence. The courage to move forward despite fear, the willingness to step into the unknown with trust, and the authenticity to embrace who we truly are without reservation are all fundamental aspects of our own inner strength. Just as animals live in alignment with their natural instincts, we must reconnect with the innate wisdom that lies within us. When we shed the masks of societal expectations and move forward without hesitation, we unlock a life full of possibility, purpose, and fulfillment. By embracing the lessons from the animal kingdom, living with presence, trusting our instincts, and boldly moving through challenges, we can transform our own lives. It's time to stop holding back, stop fearing failure, and start living fully in alignment with who we truly are. Only then can we access the profound power that lies within each of us and begin to live a life that is as wild, authentic, and purposeful as the animals we so deeply admire.